Calls the case, People versus Daryl Smith.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Ganatra for the people.
Zachary Ward on behalf of Daryl Smith. Mr. Smith, can you state your name?
Daryl Alfonso Smith.
Thank you, Your Honor. The court is likely in receipt of two things. The first being a letter from the forensic examiner saying they met with Mr. Smith and have requested some records, and they haven't received those records yet and need that to form the basis of the competency report. And then the bond violation report, I'm sure Mr. Ganatra would like to bring up.
Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Canal.
Your Honor, I do have the letter from the Forensic Center, and I understand we'll just have to wait for that. There is that bond violation report, which is troubling. There's a continuing pattern. I would let the court know, and you're probably already aware from having reviewed the file, he has 5 prior OWI convictions over a 10-year period. 3 of those are OWI thirds. The blood alcohol in this case is 0.174. He presents a risk to public safety. He has for a long time, and it's troubling, this community corrections report.
And Your Honor, I would need to get into some of Mr. Smith's health information. I don't know if that's more appropriate for a breakout room. Or I can.
Is it going to matter? I mean,
Your Honor, at the last violation report, I had indicated Mr. Smith was diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
yes.
And I think I even one of the violation reports I had given the court a heads up that Mr. Smith's wife had informed me about. It was possibly coming down the road. Obviously, there's been these new violations. Mr. Smith's wife has been trying to get him into services. However, it's difficult to locate any services that can treat someone with a diagnosis of Alzheimer's. Your Honor, she relays to me that Mr. Smith doesn't even realize there's a tether on his leg, Your Honor. I don't, and she indicates that these incidences are occurring when she's out of the house and he's getting out of the house. She assures me there's no alcohol in the home and Mr. Smith isn't driving at all. I just, obviously, Mr. Smith is in no position to admit or deny him as he has no recollection of him.
Your Honor, the troubling thing here is there's no command and control at that home. I mean, if she's not there 100% of the time, she cannot account for him. And if he has Alzheimer's, I'm sorry, but that's not going to prevent him from doing something reckless and possibly killing someone. And it's not, it's Alzheimer's is, it's not going to be a justification for it. I mean, he's still going to hurt someone. And I'm concerned about this lack of structure for him. There's no accountability right now.
I did discuss this, and obviously I think Mr. Ganatra's concerns are reasonable. Mr. Smith's wife had bought some fake keys that she was going to possibly switch out his keys for, so he couldn't get out of the house. I don't know how that would work, but I've been talking with Ms. Smith about ways we can prevent this from occurring. She did indicate, and it looks like the levels probably corroborate. One was some NyQuil that she didn't realize was in the house. But that's all the information I could provide to the court. I'm happy to assist in terms of trying to find services, but I believe there's just,
And I don't mind at some point looking at some services, but would agree with the people. The problem here, and I would sympathize with what may be his situation and indeed his wife's situation, because sometimes that can be hard on the family also. However, we're not sure what he's doing. So between the first time, well, the second time really, the third time actually, and this time we're picking up more violations. And so despite her best efforts, it's not controlling the situation or tamping down the situation. And one of these times, and I realize you said he's not driving, but you know, I guess the belief would be that he's not leaving the house either. Well, he's leaving the house. The belief is may not be drinking. He's drinking. And at some point, it may be a situation where he hops into the car and we got a whole other circumstance going on here.
Your
So
Honor, can I say something?
Okay, and who are you?
I'm his wife.
Yes, ma'am.
He hasn't been driving. I have been switching the keys from the car so he cannot drive. So he has not been driving. And he does not even remember anything. He doesn't even remember why he has to go to court. He's not realizing that he has that tether on his leg. I have to he wants to take a bath, and I have to even remind him that he has that tether on his leg, that he can't even get in the bathtub with that tether on his leg. He doesn't even know what days it is. He asks me the days. He doesn't recognize none of our grandkids or anything like that. And basically he has not been driving. I think what's going on is that we may have a neighbor above us and he drinks. And so sometimes he could be outside drinking and gives my husband a drink. So my husband is really not driving because I have the key to the car and I'm in Ann Arbor. So he's not driving the car. So he's not a threat to anybody right now because he's not driving. And I basically tells him everything that he has to do because he's not remembering it at all. So I'm doing the best that I can to not let him drive to harm anybody. So he's not a threat to anybody.
Ma'am, and I understand that. And I am not doubting your efforts in doing what you can do regarding the situation. But I think as the people have pointed out, I've got 5, I thought I counted one more, but maybe it's 5 within the past decade. And quite frankly, been fortunate so far that somebody hasn't been hurt. And I trust you that in terms of access to keys and things along those lines. But if there's even a neighbor that can get to him.
I have spoke to my neighbor and told him not to give him any more drinks, no more alcohol. And I told him that if he do, I will call the police on him for giving it to him after I have asked him not to. So Judge, what I'm asking you is, can you please just wait until you get the reports from the psychiatrist and go from there?
Ma'am, I don't mind making a decision on that, but the last hearing, the last time we came up with this violation, that's what was being asked, to wait. I was assured, and I'm not saying it wasn't in good faith, that I was assured that circumstances were under control where there wouldn't even be drinking and we wouldn't have this concern. I then come back here and now I'm here again, and that assurance that the court was given didn't come through. He's drinking, and now you may have found out where, but now this is going to depend on another person not to have him drink. And I realize you taking the car, but there are these other people around, and this is becoming a dangerous situation that I can't let just sort of do nothing on hope.
Judge.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith, just so the court's aware, does have other significant health concerns. I believe he has congenital heart failure going on as well. But I don't know if, obviously it seems like this is getting out of Miss Smith's hands. I don't know if we could get adult protective services involved at this point in order to potentially.
Well, I'm not going to do that. Certainly, your office or somebody could make the call if that's the case. But what I'm going to do at this point, based upon what I've seen here, and understand that it's not just this incident. It's the previous incident waiting because of the issues that are involved, giving an opportunity to have it sort of, I won't say resolve itself, but get things in place so that it's controlled. What I'm going to do at this time is I'm going to revoke. What I'm going to do is I'm going to revoke the defendant's bond. I will be open to hear anything that will allow, certainly for the protection of Mr. Smith, but also the protection of the community. I'm going to order that in revoking his bond, that he's to report to the Washington County Jail. He's to do that by 6 p.m. I'm going to give till Monday for him to report. Instead of reporting today, I'm going to give him to the 24th to report. If he fails to report to the Washington County Jail, then a bench warrant will issue without bond. That time period, counsel also will give you time to work with his wife and others to try to structure something that might be acceptable to the people and then ultimately acceptable to the court. But that's what I'm going to do at this particular point in time. I will adjourn this matter out 2 weeks. Court calls the case, People versus Darrell Smith, excuse me.
Ally Zenda on behalf of the people.
Zachary Ward on behalf of Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, can you unmute and state your name?
No, he's here.
You gotta unmute Mr. Smith if you hit the microphone button.
He's trying to
Hold on, I
unmute.
did.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay, we got you. Okay, I've received the forensic report.
We have as well, Your Honor. I have prepared an order and sent it to Ms. Kirby, but I believe she may be wanting time to review the report. I don't know.
1 second. I would say probably we would have to review it, so probably.
Okay, so you want an adjournment of the competency hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. She was doing just fine. Just calm down. She was thinking the process through before she gave me an answer, and I appreciate that because some attorneys don't think. I'll adjourn the competency hearing. I'll adjourn it out a few weeks to the 15th, 2023 at 9 without objection. Let the parties look at it and figure out where to head from there. Okay, bond will continue.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Marie Rosinsky on behalf of the people. And good afternoon, Your Honor, Andrew Meyer on behalf of Darrell Smith. Mr. Smith, if you're present, could you please unmute and then state your name?
I was just working on it. There you go.
You say your name, Mr. Smith, please?
Yes, sir.
Say Daryl Smith.
Daryl Smith.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, what are we doing? I have the report from May 11th, but I don't know if that's what we're doing today.
Your Honor, we did submit a proposed form of order based on that report in which it was opined that Mr. Smith is currently not competent and unlikely to be restorable within the statutory timeframe.
Is there any additional evidence from either side?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, we would ask that you adopt the findings in that report.
All right. Court having reviewed the report, the court would determine that the defendant is, and that being the only evidence, is incompetent to stand trial and is not likely to gain competence within the statutory period. Therefore, the defendant is being incompetent. I know that they're, well, I'm not going to worry about that. And I have signed the order. What are it? Is there something else that this court can do to facilitate this matter, or you just want me to leave it this way, folks?
Your Honor, I think given what's in that report, there wouldn't be any likely benefit from any further action taken by the court or the state at this time, but that's just my opinion.
And the state's opinion is that while we have no further evidence from the court and he is not likely to regain competency, that is something that we need to make sure that can be handled within the probate court, and he should be under a treatment order. So I would ask that the court not full out dismiss right now until we can try to get something in place.
Then what I will do then, I found him not competent, but I will give an adjourn date for further proceedings to, will 30 days be enough time for you to get things in order?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. What is that for me? July 13th, 2023, 9 a.m. Bond continued at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.